Hello, everyone, and welcome to hour 54 of the live show and hour 1 of the EHF Final 4 post-final review podcast. Lads, I'm emotionally drained. And we have Nedzad Nacho Smaljanic. How close is that? Better than
Very
last
good.
time?
Better
Smaljagic.
better than Blagotinšek, so that's good.
Blagotinšek. I think that's gotten better over the years. He's joining us because Brian can't be in. Well, not because of that. We'd like you to join anyway. But Brian is he's on the court still with players. I think he's gonna be taking some photos and videos later. We're trying to get him to come live with us, but I think he's gonna avoid us. So we're gonna chat in here because I think among the three of us and all of you listening live and watching live at home, there's enough to talk about over the next hour. So,
where do we start? Do we start with the final, or will we go into the bronze medal match a little bit? Because that's your favorite game, right?
That would really be teasing everyone at home to just go straight into the bronze medal game. But it was quite a bronze medal game, huh? It wasn't as wild for the whole game. It was actually it was kind of like a first leg quarter-final match. It was really tense for the first half, and then it kind of opened up quite a bit. But what was your take on it? I mean, we're talking about the bronze medal game now.
Yeah. Let's do a bit on bronze medal.
I
think
beat Veszprém after penalties.
Yeah.
37-35.
The first thing was that I wasn't sure if it was legal for them to go straight into penalties or they should play an extra time. I think it's the right decision. Clemens told me that the rule was changed in 2015 after, again, both games went into extra time. So I'm going to believe him because he's always right.
Yeah.
But it was exciting. It looked like Veszprém were the better team. Everyone had predicted Veszprém to be the winners of that tie, and then they came back. They were 4 goals down at one stage. Kiel in the second half, and they just got this extra energy, and finally the Kiel fans woke up. So who brought them that extra energy to just equalize? Do you think, Nejad?
I mean, it will sound weird, but I almost think that like Veszprém players brought them that energy. There was like a clash between, not a clash, but a bit of trash talk between Zarabets and Rasmus Lauge. And then literally 10 seconds after that, Zarabet just one against one scored a goal. There was a 2 minutes penalty. I think that, and obviously Landin made some saves that helped them. And I need to say, there was one player that stepped up today that did not show up yesterday, and that's Nikola Bilic. I'm very happy. I think 7 from 9, if I wrote it correctly. Really he showed that if you give him the time, if you maybe release a bit the pressure, that he can show up. He showed that also in the last 2 games in the Bundesliga, where he played more after Sargosen got injured. He has that quality. Yes, he's way slower than he was before the injury. Yes, you can see that physicality is not there. But when you give them the trust, when you say, okay, if you shoot and miss 1 or 2 balls, you will still stay on. I will not replace you, as he did in the semi-final, because Bilic started, got 8 minutes, should have taken at least 2 or 3 shots, did not do it, was replaced, and that was it. So I'm really happy for him. I think that he's deserved it. And in general, it was a collective performance during pure fighting spirit that they showed, because I think that they are now dead, literally, after these 2 games.
Yeah, actually, from my perspective, so Bilic kept Kiel in it. So it was really at a stage where the game was kind of trucking along. It seemed like both teams were comfortable with the results, and it was Bilic that was the player who kept Kiel in the game. But the person who kind of drove the victory, there was 2, I think, for Kiel, and that was Vinček, who this time around, he got a little bit of a break in the middle, which meant he came back with about 15-20 minutes left, and I don't know where he got the energy, but just drove that Kiel team forward together with Duvniak, who was the emotional force in that second half for Kiel.
Yeah, how impressive is Patrick Vinček? Like, second leg of the quarterfinals, 6 goals. First, the semi-final yesterday, 7, and 6 again today. from a guy who really has been he's been a defender for like a lot of the last couple of years with Hendrik Pekkala in the team, and he's like a bit part attacker, and really reeled back the years. I mean, something so almost so unusual about him as well in the way he plays. But my favorite moment is where I think it was right towards the end of the game, must have been his last goal, where he got the interception first of all, and then didn't run directly down the court, ran around the left, overtook Rune Dampke and received the ball on the left wing in the counterattack. So he started the move with the steal and he finished it off from the left wing. Just like, where do you get that from? It was amazing, and that really does signify it. Bilic was fantastic. Like that, when he really let that arm go, there was one really nice goal where he shot right over the centre block, and the huge centre block that Vesprem have. But when he has a unique ability to use his full wingspan in a shot, and it doesn't matter how tall the centre block is, he'll find a way past them if he really believes it, and he did today.
Yeah. I think the other key turnaround was Niklas Landin. And if anyone actually follows us on Twitter, you may have seen that we, on the Uninformed Handball Hour, we do this a lot.
I mean Alex.
And by we, I mean me, where I post some sort of missing. So I've had missing Dika Mem, as in find Waldo, before. And what did Dika Mem do? He scored 7 goals in the next game. This time around, after 40 minutes, I made a missing poster for Niklas Landin because he deserved it. Yeah. He was doing nothing for 100 minutes in this championship, and then he woke up. Well, how?
It's Niklas Landin.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to say that, and it's not only. I'm feeling really bad for Dario Kverstad. I mean, I need to say Dario Kverstad is not a bad goalkeeper. I mean, let's be honest. Dario Kverstad is a decent goalkeeper for, let's say, a Bundesliga team below third place. I see him like that. And yesterday was also a bit. He got 2.5 minutes on the court. Didn't have a chance to save anything. Was replaced because Jihan knows who is Niklas Landin. You guys spoke about that on before the semifinals. That's probably the only goalkeeper currently where the other players are thinking about him. His opponents are thinking about Niklas Landin, and they know when he's there, if he gets his day. I mean, Perez Vargas is an amazing goalkeeper, but if you just look at the physicality of the boat, it's a bit different effect when Niklas Landin is staying there. And I think whenever he saves a couple of balls in a row, then even that powerful defense from Kiel is getting even more and more powerful, even harder. But I like that he has rotated defenses the entire time. Obviously, they have the players for that. Even without Pekkala, they played either a 6-0 or some kind of 5-1. Then they started also today with some kind of 3-2-1.
There was a 3-2-1, and I think there was a 3-3 defense at once, the real old school 3-3 that I haven't seen too much.
Yeah, but I need to just to finish the thought and also add up maybe on Patrick Winchek. I had a feeling also yesterday that Kiel players are searching for him. So it was obviously, that Kielce is playing a lot with the line players, either Turnal or Karalek. Barca when Fabregas was healthy, yes. But I did not expect that Kiel will base their game more or less in the semifinals and also in bronze medal game on Winchek. Yeah. I really did not expect. I expected a lot of 7 against 6, and I expected maybe some kind of isolation for Reinkind, maybe even for Zarabet. But they will play matchups 2 against 2 with Winchek. And what I also like, that he's a modern line player in the case that he is running a lot. I don't know the statistics, but I think at least 30 or 40% of his goals in this Final Four are fast break goals, which is amazing taking into consideration how many minutes he needed to play. So hats off for that.
He also moves a lot on the line, which is rarer to see these days. You have someone like Andy Nielsen, even Karlek Turna is another example where they set a base and try to overpower a defender. Winchek can do that and does that, but more often he is actually moving into the gaps behind the defence, which again was really effective, especially because every team in this Final Four played quite an aggressive defense, at least at some stage. And for Kiel, it was Wiencheck who punished teams playing that aggressive defense.
So what do you think about Veszprém and all of this? Go on,
Yeah, taking a deep breath. I don't know. I think that they had a similar game as they had yesterday. So a very good first half. The difference was for me maybe that yesterday they opened not only good, emotional, but also in some kind of emotional and relaxed, if it makes sense to say that. I saw that they are having fun playing handball. Today was a different. I saw it multiple times during the game, discussions between players of Veszprém.
Yeah.
Yahya screaming on my, why are you not going there when I want to go there, and then all of these different things that you rarely see in the professional handball. You see it quite rarely, that players of one team and that level are not fighting but having some discussions during the game, and that was the part that surprised me a bit. And I would say, I think you said it, Alex, yesterday evening, the lack of discipline in both directions. So Kentan Mae played left wing the end of the second half.
Yeah.
He was decent, but there are at least 3 or 4 scenes when he was trying to catch the ball, kind of trying to anticipate and provoke that mistake to Rankin, and the ball got to the right winger. Totally easy goals for Kiel that normally should not happen. So they kind of wanted too much, and I didn't see a clear structure. I didn't see a player who will say, okay, now we do this, now we stop. It was a bit of a mess between Mae, Lekai in the second game. Obviously, Nenadic, who is anyway really hard to control. So,
he had a much better attitude today, though, Nenadic.
Yeah.
He had a more difficult challenge. But,
There's one thing on Nenadic and his attitude while he was warming up on behind the bench. At one point, he just turns around and gives Bob Hanning a hug. He's commentating on German TV. So that was him. He was very.
That was his
very
relaxed attitude.
He was very chill today.
Yeah, I think for Veszprém, there wasn't enough structure. There wasn't. We saw the two teams in the final, especially how they had very specific lineups. It was like this team comes in, then this setup of players comes in to enable this set of players to come in at this stage of the game. That was non-existent for Veszprém. They had a bit of structure there, the defensive substitutions, but it was more about, okay, who's on form? Let's replace him. And especially, I think Yahya Omar needs a little bit more structure. He had an incredible game today. 8 goals. Really, he was the player in control. But I think if his time was managed a little bit better today, so he was on fire, maybe give him a little bit of a break, those last 5-10 minutes, that's when Yahya Omar, that's when you need him to really take over and finish the game for Veszprém. But at that stage, he was kind of out on his feet. And that's down to Momir Ilic, I think.
Yeah. But I also didn't like, in my personal opinion, they focused too much on the referees, especially yesterday.
Yeah.
Not only in the second half, but also after the first 15 minutes, after every decision, you had some things. Now you had in the finals, in my opinion, there are a couple of situations where Barca had the opportunity to scream on the referees. There are a couple of scenes, especially at the end of the game, where there was a foul on Alex Dushabayev, which I never saw that is a foul. And there were a couple of players, maybe for 5 seconds, that tried to find a contact with the referees and just stopped, focused on the defense, continued playing. And I think that was the part that Veszprém was missing. And again, Yahya Omar had a very good game today, but if you see the hierarchy of the players in that team, I'm not sure. If you let's put it into context, that from Kielce, maybe not Branko Vujovic is not Yahya Omar, but Branko Vujovic is, or let's say not the A player from Kielce. I can never see Branko Vujovic screaming on any other player from Kielce in the game. That would never happen, and Yahya Omar did that. If Lauge does it, okay. Maybe if Lekai does it, okay, but not Yahya Omar. And that's for me a sign that something was rotten there.
Yeah, I think I'd like to give Yahya Omar a little bit of slack here because he's still young. I think it's a part of his journey to become a mature handball player. He has all the skill. now he has to learn how to take control of those really important moments in games. And I think he has that ability, and he has many more EHL Final Fours to come. Then it came to the penalty shootout. Do you remember it, Chris?
Before we go to the penalty shootout, I just want to ask you one thing about, because I think one of the defining things in the comeback was, and I can't wait to see like the analysis of the time here in terms of attack spent, because honestly, it felt like for about 3/4 of the match, it was Kiel in attack. And at least 2/3 of the game was Kiel in attack. And if you look at fouls committed, one of those stats came up at one point, and it was 3 times as much Veszprem in comparison to Kiel. And because Kiel were literally camped in, it was almost like a rugby match in terms of a team being like in the opposition half for so long, because Veszprem were happy to allow that, and then because for most of the game they were scoring easy goals at the other end. They were just finding the right solutions over and over again, and they were riding this wave. But do you think that might have had an impact, because it is a lot harder to defend for the majority of the game, and then when it comes to the late minutes, then to actually be able to have that energy to hold on to control the game, because they went from scoring easy goals all day long to all of a sudden having to manage the game, which they didn't manage.
It's a good point, but it's also really difficult to attack a set defense in terms of the amount of effort it takes, especially for the backcourt players. So traditionally, the team that spends the least amount of time in the set attack wins. And that's what we saw in the game. That's what kind of happened for the first 40, 50 minutes. I think there was just a shift and maybe a little bit of lack of concentration from Veszprem.
I can't remember a game where there's been such a game that's been close on the scoreboard that has been so disproportionate in terms of time spent in the opposition attack or defense. So
although there was another moment that I think was really crucial, and I think there was some discussion about it in terms of that Andy Nielsen inside call, where he took the shot, the goal counted. I was looking at it from a very good angle, and he was inside. I think it was the right decision to overturn it. But the fact that they used VAR to overturn that decision is not in the rule book. It's the right decision, but they shouldn't have been able to do it.
And it was such a close call, though, also from the angle that we were shown on TV. I don't know how many angles were actually there, but one of the angles I saw was like, well, the goalkeeper was in the way of where the line was. So I was like, this is hard to call. How are the referees supposed to give the call? And I think in these cases, the referee should give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, which happened a lot in the final. Look at Ludovic Fabregas, one of the goals he scored. He literally had his whole forearm on the ground as he shot.
And half of his body, probably.
And so, that, I think in that case, maybe they were, the complaining got to them.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, penalty shootouts, they're weird, right? But right before it, I was looking at the two goalkeepers, and my thought was Corrales is a better goalkeeper this weekend. Not in general. That's a ridiculous statement, of course. But Niklas Landin is a better 7-meter goalkeeper. And I think that's what mattered in that game.
Yeah, if you want to choose between the two of them that you're going to face for a penalty, I know which one I'd choose.
And there was a really interesting moment in that penalty shootout when Lauge stepped up to take his penalty against Niklas. And, two players who've played with each other for many, many years. And they had a little smile together. It was a beautiful moment, but that was Niklas Landin's just putting Lauge in his pocket there. And he knew exactly where he was going to go, made the save. And in the end, Kiel with a surprise bronze medal. They should be happy, though.
Yeah, they deserve it. I mean, at the end, they deserve it. Right? With a pure fighting spirit. Tactics was there, but obviously without Sagosen and Pekela, as we mentioned for a gazillion times this weekend. Other players stepped up. They had some versatility in their game, for me, the penalty shooter is always funny. Whenever it starts, I'm thinking about, okay, who are the players from the team that are shooting normally penalty shots? From West Brom side, they have at least 5 good ones, where you say, okay, Marguc is the first choice. Then you have Mae, obviously, who can and shoot. Yahi Omar was for me a surprising decision. I was calculating with Sterlek, who did not play. I don't know, he was injured.
I think
but
he must have been injured, and that's
but still
why
you can shoot. You can shoot penalty shot even being injured, because he's the player who normally, and he has experience with penalty shooters in Cologne, which does probably make a difference. Yeah, but penalty shooter is penalty shooter, which we will come probably at the finals where Andy Wolf almost had 2, and then
Will we move on to the final then?
Yeah, I just want to say it was a good game, though.
Yeah,
it was a great game.
Really, I was surprised at the way it meant just so much to those teams, and we need to remind ourselves of that also when we think about these bronze medal games. That
exhibition games, as he called them.
Exhibition games. It really does matter.
Maybe they listen.
It matters as much, whether it's a group phase game, which a lot of handball people say, oh, it's too many, they don't matter. When these teams face each other, there's a lot on the line, and we've all played games that mean diddly squat, but they all matter. At the time, at the moment, they matter, and that one really mattered today.
I think the fans also helped. I think the fans helped, because you had Kiel and West Brom. West Brom had, I think, from the amount, the most fans.
Yeah, they were the loudest.
Kielce dominated. Definitely, Kielce fans dominated this Final Four. But I saw more red jerseys or red T-shirts, and obviously THW Kiel is more or less the home team. So I think that the fans' presence helped a lot to make the game better.
One thing I have to say about the fans, and I think that maybe let's answer this question. Do you remember Zarabet's penalty?
Yeah.
I think he just tried to put it under the leg.
I mean, I think he tried something that it's my favorite penalty to do.
Is it?
But on the other side, it's when the keeper is out, which is you come across, or in his case, he's coming across, and it's the flick of the wrist to just so it lands right at the side of the keeper's foot and spins past. So when it works, it's something you do in training. It's not something you do.
You know what? It reminded
me. Really confident. Yeah. It's the cut across spin.
Yeah. It reminded me on the fast breaks that Kirill Azarov sometimes does.
Yes.
You know, the one when he comes really close to the 6-meter line, just releases the ball and then jumps, fakes it.
Yeah.
So I think he was.
Hampus Van is very good at that, drop of the wrist, and so I think he was trying to literally just spin it on the inside of just on the outside of the standing foot. However, didn't work.
It looked really bad. Nina said on the screens looked bad. I can also say that in the arena did not look even better.
Yeah.
So
Nina, there's now it's at the end of the 54 hours, and there's no EHF TV for a while. I'm going to tell you something now. A VPN. That's all I'm going to say. VPN.
3 words.
Remember that.
Miracle.
For next season.
3 words. Chris O'Reilly's voice. VPN. Always. VPN.
That's your key.
The final. One more point about the fans. I was a little bit disappointed with the Kiel fans this weekend. I think I mentioned it a couple of times, because they seemed to get louder as the team got better, but that was already too late. It worked today, but it didn't work in the semi-final. Today, as Kiel came back into it, the fans woke up and the arena got loud, it got raucous, but for the 30 minutes before that, it was dead silent. There was a little bit of cheering. Yeah, it wasn't inspiring. So it really took the players to build the crowd. On the other hand, Kielce and veteran fans get louder when their team is behind. And I think you have to really appreciate that level of support for those teams. But Kielce fans were just loud throughout the whole final.
I think it's a different... sorry, Chris.
They're good at getting angry. That's all. Kiel fans are good at getting angry. Anyway.
It's a different fan base. And we can finish it on that. I don't want to say anything bad, but it's like 70%.
It's
70% of fans in German Bundesliga, maybe besides Magdeburg, the arenas are already sold out with these yearly tickets with people who are over 50, 60, so they cannot follow the tempo. They drink probably the same amount of beer as Polish and Hungarian fans. It maybe has just a bit different effect on them. So.
Just makes them angrier. But the final started a little bit slow, didn't it? Chris?
Oh God, let me think.
It was 14-13.
It was Barca Kielce.
Yeah, but what did I tell you? I said 27-26 would be the final score, and it was 28-28. So I think in that sense it was kind of on par from what was expected. But the reason, I mean, I don't know why, but it was really like Talon Tushabayev put out his B backcourt,
So
which
strange.
was and Nicolas Tournat on the line. So that diamond in the center was the B team, a good B team. Branko Vujovic
came out of nowhere. Went 4 from 4.
I mean,
first half.
this whole game was a case of building on what we all spoke about yesterday. The fact that those two teams won the semi-finals because of the way they used their squad. Today was a great example, and both coaches really using their squads and using it for very specific reasons. You spoke about using lineups for different things, and something I noticed about watching the group phase games between these two teams was that backcourt shooting was pretty prevalent, and that worked for Kielce that time because they won both games. So Branko Vujovic is a really good backcourt shooter when he's on form. Igor Karacic is a very good backcourt shooter when he's on form. And Sichko, well, he's not the B team, but this weekend he was the B choice after what happened on Saturday. A really good backcourt shooter as well. So I think they were looking for, that's why it was slow, because there was no... They need more than one player to move the ball. They need more than one player to run and move the ball. So it was more about we're going to try and go over them instead of around them. And I think that maybe contributed a little bit.
And then on the other side, the key player that was missing at the start of the game and actually ended up being missing for a lot of the game was Sindrich.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it before we went live. I don't know if he was injured. He did not look injured. I mean, at least he walked normally. So I don't know about that. He started the game. He was not dominating the game, but he made some good decisions. And you can obviously clearly see that he's leading the team and he's deciding on the matchups and on everything. He did a decent job, in my opinion, in 10 or 15 minutes. As the entire Barca squad, they controlled the game, and then they started making.
Campo's here.
Oh, guys, I will finish the sentence. I think that I need to go.
No, and then I unlock the door for Brian.
I think it's unlocked. It's unlocked.
Campo!
It's made it! Where are our beers?
Ali Ryan gave me 2 beers.
Oh.
And a free pizza. All right.
And did you bring any for us?
Send that to the mic, maybe.
We are not jealous. We are not jealous at all.
Yeah,
it should be. Let me make some space.
What was that you were saying, Brian?
So, I tried to go live from the hall. And I was there, and I was sitting there waiting for ages.
For what?
To be let into the show.
Oh, you were on VMix?
Really?
I was on VMix from the hall.
Actually, that's a good question. Where's Clemens?
And then Clemens said to me, "Sorry, I didn't see you there."
Sorry, Brian.
And there was champagne being thrown around and everything. So then I gave up and I went to the dressing room. And then Ali Zane came out to me and goes, "You look hungry." And I go, "I am hungry." And he handed me a big pizza. I'm going to get the video of it because there's video of this. Nice. And then he goes in and he goes, "And you also want beer?" He comes out with 2 beers. And he goes, "I don't drink." And handed me 2 beers. Yeah, what a nice guy.
That is lovely.
And we're going to go on to his cojones later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You joined us, Brian, actually we just started talking about the final. So good timing. We managed to fill half an hour on the bronze medal cake.
Yeah. I did look down and I was like,
anyone still watching?
Classic us, just talking. I will do 5 minutes on the
5 minutes on the bronze medal.
Half an hour there. Yeah.
But sticking with the first half, I think the key thing, was I've lost my train of thought. Brian, you've ruined it. You've ruined everything.
You sound like me, Alex.
I can finish my sentence. I can help you. I wrote 3 things that for me kind of switch it in a good way for Kielce, and it's literally only Barca's fault. So they were, I think, 3 or 4 in front. Then Markus Jan's attacking foul, and Sindrich, the decision that I did not understand. They were in 1 man up. And Ortega just pulled him up from end of the bench and told him to come in. Then he made a mistake, a really stupid mistake. He didn't play the ball on the right wing. So 3 mistakes in maybe 5 minutes, which Kielce punished. Came back into the game. Barca was one in front and a half, but in my opinion, they were way better. They had a really bad 5-7 minutes, couple of sequences, and then allowed Kielce to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was, I think that was a bit of a change in formation comeback as well, because Kielce brought in their A-team. Well, first, in the second half, there was an interesting dynamic because I think Talent wanted to bring in Alex Dushabayev and Danny Dushabayev into the starting lineup after the first 15 minutes. But Branko Vujovic was having such a good game that he decided to put Alex Dushabayev as a playmaker.
Yeah.
I don't think that was something that was planned. I think that was just a response to Vujovic's game. But then in the second half, Danny Dushabayev came in and I thought he had a fantastic game. Watching the game, but then I looked at the stats and
that's okay.
He missed a lot of shots.
He was expensive, but I think the periods when he played and some of the goals he scored were very timely. He was the guy who was taking on shots when Barca's defense looked really like on top of the game. And so sometimes you need somebody who's just going to be like, you know what, the guys don't really fancy it. I'm going to be the one to just take the terrible shots.
I'm going to be Vuko Borazan.
I'm going to be Vuko I'm going to tell.
I didn't know. You added spice to that. I didn't add spice to that. I just said that some guys don't want to take a shot. That's all I said.
I'm going to take.
Where did you find him? Oh, I had his back.
Danny was like, I'm going to take the shots here, and so he was a little bit expensive, but it wasn't like bad misses. There were times where everyone was missing, and he just kind of you need someone to say, look, it's okay to shoot, lads. Yeah. And Danny was that like sacrificial lamb. He, for me, if we don't bring him up again, he's my hero of this weekend. Danny Dushabayev.
He did come out of nowhere, didn't he? I wasn't even expecting to see him play too much.
Defense maybe, and that's maybe one of the reasons why, because he's one of those rare players who can play in the center in attack and play in defense as well. So maybe they wanted to reduce the in-out transition between attack and defense. But anyway, yeah, I think bad stats, good vibes.
Yeah. One thing that I want to highlight for Barcelona is an advantage they had over Kielce was their fast restarts. It was Alex Gomez. Can we just appreciate Alex Gomez and what he's done in this Final Four? And it was absolutely incredible.
And next season, there's the new rule where you can throw off anywhere within the center circle, not just in the middle. And that's going to make him even more dangerous.
Yeah. It will also not help you, Chris, because I think the game will be even more faster.
Oh,
to try to catch all of the action. Right.
And you got to live it. Brian, you were in amongst the fans, I think, for the most part in the game. You were in the timeouts. You were catching the emotions and the atmosphere very much, but I'm sure you also down on courtside, the speed of the game as it built up. You said it was a slow start to the game, but it really started to build up towards the late first half. You must have caught that as well.
Yeah, I think for bench reaction videos, I think it was an absolute goldmine, especially towards the end of the game, because it really looked like Barcelona had it just right at the end, and they were almost on the edge of kind of celebrating, we have this, arms around each other, hopping around the place, but. Yeah, it was just. I mean, I have a headache after those two games. It was almost a bit too much for me. Just for
moving your head.
Yeah, it was just a bit too much.
Some water.
No, I'm good. I know, but the scenes afterwards as well was absolutely incredible. I mean, they didn't really let us into the dressing room this year. Last year we were all in there for ages and taking all the photographs. This year they got naked pretty quickly, so we had to get out of there. So there's only one photo I took in there, so that was it. But yeah, just incredible what you don't see then on TV when they're behind there just smashing beers, and they're all doing the Ronaldo backstage over and over again.
As a Barcelona team.
Wrong team. Wrong team. What's happening?
Maybe I should have said that.
This is in front of Joan Laporta. True. That's scandalous.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I don't support Barcelona on the handball side, I think.
So 30% off of the salaries from Barca players.
You're a neutral.
Because I am a neutral. So Barcelona had the advantage on the fast goals. Alex Gomes got 3, and then Tiago Petrus got a fantastic one in the second half, where they got a bit of a turnover, and then Alex Gomes did the fast break, played Petrus, he scored. So that was 4 goals that Kielce didn't have on their side. What Kielce did have was their 9-meter shooting, and my namesake, Vladislav Kulesh. He came out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere yesterday. He's had a pretty poor season, to be honest. But when he was needed, he scored for them. And I think, let me just get his shooting percentage, but did he even miss?
I don't think so. But not. I would not even focus on the scoring.
Okay,
like
4 from 6, but that's for, and they were all 9-meter shots, and he had 1 assist.
What an assist!
What an assist!
Oh, I mean, have you ever seen at this level? I mean, I've seen it. I've seen you and I and many other people do this level of miscommunication in terms of defenders stepping out. But like the panic on their faces as the 2 boys, Fabregas and Tiago Petrus, stepped out to try and like, yes, we're gonna make the big final block. I found it hard to believe. It was like, this is really bad, like terrible like there was no way.
But do you think so? What we were wondering watching it was that a planned move where Alex Dushabayev? So it was like a triple bluff or a double bluff. So Alex Dushabayev is going to be the guy who takes the shot, but the defense moves over to him. Kulesh, then that's the first bluff that Dushabayev plays it to Kulesh for the 9-meter shot, and then it's either 9 meters or the pass. So do you think that is something that Talant Dushabayev drew up and told him to do, or was it just pure vibes?
No.
Well,
do you really think that? No, let's forget what Talant said. Do you really think that if Alex Dushabayev is on the court in the last 15 seconds, that he would allow that somebody else? I think it was just pure luck in this case for Kielce that the ball landed there where it landed. It's a fact, and I give you right for that Ali Zayn was way off the middle. So it was a clear 2 against 2 with a lot of space left and right. That was a fact, but I think it was pure luck for Kielce that it happened like that. I cannot imagine that Alex Dushabayev will say, okay, I will fake something, and then Vlad and Karalek should solve this.
Yeah, that's going into conspiracy theory again, isn't it? Like handball conspiracy theory.
But I don't know. I think there was such a level of preparation from Talant Dushabayev and Kielce today that I wouldn't be surprised if they had a go-to move for the final seconds and variations on it. Of course, if you get the opportunity, it was Dushabayev to shoot. If you get the opportunity, it's Kulesh to shoot. But also Karalek being there as an option. So I wouldn't be surprised that this was drilled by this team to take advantage of in a situation like that. So I'm giving Talant and the team a lot of credit here.
To kind of back that up to an extent, in the final minutes of normal time and in extra time, Kielce didn't play with the backcourt really at all. It was all about, either playing to the line or like small moves or 1 against 1. Like we're gonna find the space where we're gonna earn a penalty, or we're gonna find the space where we can play it into the line. It's not we're gonna score amazing goals. It's just like we're gonna go for the high percentage opportunities. They really went like if we have to win this dirty, we're gonna win this dirty, and they did that in attack. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they were focused on playing the ball into the line in the end. But I don't think that in their wildest dreams they could have imagined it to open up so wide and to be given such a gloriously free opportunity, which was put away very nicely as well. I think the finish there, there's a lot of pressure on the line player.
There's a lot of pressure. It's not always an easy shot.
What I liked is he didn't lean anywhere. He didn't fall. He stood like it was. He's just stood. He was like, I'm taller than you, Gonzalo, and I'm going to put this ball over you. Yeah, he did that well.
And Another maybe matchup that was really important was Dika Mem versus Tomasz Gabala.
We have
Tell us about that.
We have it ready.
They're hanging around together.
In Bosnia, we say Dika Mem sent him to buy cevapi, so there's a phrase. So I mean, there is some kind of phrase. For sure,
buy some milk.
Send him to have a hot dog, and always on the strong side, which is weird. That I cannot imagine that nobody told Gabala like stop him on the strong side, leave the weak. Mem tried on the weak one a couple of times, but that was I think that was just a fake. Let me test him 1 or 2 times, and then we will go back, and I will have him on. For me, it was Barca played without line players in attack today.
Yeah.
Fabregas scored one where he was with 3/4 of his body in the 6 meter lines, as we saw. They were not even trying. The only assignment that the both line players of Barca had today just to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And it was either Dika Mem, Makuc, Blažians, or some kind of double crosses, some kind of let's just open the space. In the overtime, there was one thing that they did really good, crossing like empty switch. Dika Mem comes over the middle, plays to Ngasan, and then again the line player goes totally wide. That kind of confused Kielce, but Barca played, I think, 70 minutes, one-on-one, Magdeburg style, more or less, and Dika Mem destroyed Gabala. But not only that, I was really surprised to see that they did not isolate it, for example, Daniel Dushabayev. They left him, and they were like, okay, either Karalek or Gabala, and let's go in the middle. Because I would not choose Arsen Karalek. Okay, Gabala maybe on a broad space, but if you line me these 3 defensive players, I will always say I go to Dani Dushabayev. Especially after you see how many minutes he spent on the court, because he's not the fittest one, especially after the injury.
And they were so smart with how because particularly in the first half, yesterday in the semi-final, they targeted Pavel Horak very well. They really gave him a terrible time. And again, targeting players very well. But it was a slow burner today against Gembala. It was not straight away, but as it came into the key points, then Dika Mem. And then I liked as well at one point.
His shooting stats were until basically the 26th minute. Yeah. Oh, sorry, 56th minute. Dika Mem had scored 3
from 6?
No, 2 from 7.
Okay, Jesus.
In the last 3 minutes and extra time, he went 3 from 3. And each time he just broke.
He got a penalty as well.
He got a penalty in that as well.
Yeah, but
and
one time Richardson came through. They mixed it up. It's like, okay, this time Melvin, you're going to do the exact same thing, and that worked as well.
But also, where did Melvin Richardson come from? What the hell?
From the fridge. From the fridge.
He knows.
Melvin Richardson.
He was cooling down.
He was just cooling in the fridge for that whole Saturday, where he didn't play.
When he gets a good jump shot off, it's one of the most beautiful jump shots around because it just goes from 0 to here, and then the shooting technique is really nice. And I thought we wouldn't see it this weekend.
But let's not, I mean, I must say it, so let's not give all of the credits to Dika Mem, because without Dika Mem's stupidity, dare I said it, in the last attack, overtime would not happen.
Yeah.
Why do you take that shot? 35 seconds, man up, 20 seconds you have, not even passive play, you take a shot over at least one player, a bad one like half a meter next to the goal.
Man up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They had like 20 seconds.
That was the Gabala 2 minutes that Dika Mem called.
And he just saw, like, lads, you're in the middle. He saw winning goal.
There it is.
Dika Mem,
champion, defending champion, MVP,
new
contract. He deserves everything. Juan Laporta lifts him on his shoulder, carries him into the dressing room, but that didn't quite happen.
No.
But they still won.
Yes.
But they still won. And there were so many times in that second half and in extra time where things changed so quickly. That's what I really liked about the games, where there was like 60-second and 90-second periods of the game where everything just like flipped on its head. And that made for a really great final. It wasn't a case of like one team really, looking like they were the team that had to be overturned. That they swapped those roles over and over again. That was nice.
Yeah.
But Kielce really had their chances. I think towards like midway through the second half, they could have really taken control, not like by leading by 4 or 5, but leading by 2.
Yeah.
If they'd taken a 2-goal lead, then they could have been able to be maybe a bit smarter about it, but they just,
There was a
Just
crucial
couldn't do
moment.
it.
There was a crucial moment at, I'll tell you the exact time because
Oh,
I
you
wrote it down. No, sorry, that was the time when Mem destroyed Gabalo that I wrote down. But just before that, Karlek had a really stupid turnover in the middle.
Yeah. Where Ali Zayn scored after the mistake. Yeah,
And
yeah,
after the mistake, it was basically Barca had increased the speed a little bit, and Kielce tried to counter that with speed. A ball went into the center for Karlek to catch, and he just panicked. He jumped, passed it, turnover, Ali Zayn goal, Barca in the lead, Kielce chasing.
Yeah.
And that just completely flipped those last couple of minutes. We still got to extra time. For me, extra time was a bit strange because it just felt inevitable that it's going to go to penalties.
Yeah, even though it's so quick, and it's almost like, in football how they just, both teams almost agree, it's like, okay, let's just go to penalties here. It wasn't quite like that, but both teams had chances again to control the extra time. It was 2-1 in the first period.
Yep.
Yeah.
Barca.
And then Kiel took the lead. Kielce took the lead in the second period. 2 goals in quick succession, and then you're like, okay, now you just need to manage it. Like you've come back again, you have the lead again, and they just couldn't. I mean, and you have to give a lot of credit to both defenses and also both keepers in extra time as well.
Actually, both keepers overall in that game, both had just very solid performances. We're not talking outstanding, but both had something like 13, 14 saves, above 30%. That's what you need in a final. So
when the defenses are playing the way they are,
Exactly.
you're not going to be expected to get 40% because there are fewer shots like that coming through.
Yeah.
Poor Andy Wolf though in the penalty shootout. He touched the ball twice.
Touched the ball twice.
That DKM one especially. That was criminal. Like that was like that snuck in. Like
No, that's just a funny moment. I was sitting beside Kevin, and Kevin he's a good friend with Andy Wolf. So he was really cheering for Andy Wolf in that penalty shootout. And all weekend, Kevin has been shouting, it's a disgrace that players, if anything happens, they're just calling for VAR. They're calling for VAR. Like, they're just always calling for it. Then that Andy Wolf almost save happened, and he was like, did it cross the line? They should go to VAR. They should go to VAR.
No, it's funny because I thought it initially, but then as he's walking back up, I think what he was meaning is that it crossed the line. It went past the. That's what I took. I thought initially it was VAR, but then he just walked up and he didn't protest at all.
No. It was actually a clear goal. So from the angle I was sitting, you could just see it was a clear goal. It didn't need to go to VAR.
But was he actually saying VAR, or was he saying no, it crossed the...
No, he showed like this. He did like this for sure. He did like, I don't know,
But he didn't
I was talking about
he did it
Kevin,
twice
who
and
was
didn't
right
protest.
beside
He
you.
just put his head down and kept walking. Because everyone else was just like...
So that was really unfortunate. But
sickening, doesn't it?
Alex Dushabayev, Mr. Clutch.
I mean,
There was
would even be here without him? Probably not.
No,
never.
So like,
never.
It's so horribly poetic that he misses it.
There was something like, I don't want to, you always say, oh, I knew it was going to be safe. I didn't know, but there was this weird feeling. It's like, this isn't going in.
Yeah.
And I was
And
like,
I was
and
already
Danny's going to
thinking, I
score.
was like,
I was like,
no.
they've swapped bodies.
I was like, no, Alex, it can't be Alex who's going to miss, but there's something about it. And
But how bad was the penalty?
Yeah.
How bad
It's
did it?
perfect-
How
perfect
bad
height.
did he? Yeah.
But I told you that Lauge and Niklas Landin exchanged a glance, and then the goalkeeper has the advantage. In this case, Perez de Vargas and Alex Dushabayev didn't even look at each other. Or more, Alex Dushabayev didn't have, and I'm not going to say he didn't have the bravery, but in that moment, he chose to look down and focus, didn't even look at Perez de Vargas. And I think that is Perez de Vargas' advantage. And again, the same situation happens. They've done it so many times in training for Spain. I'd say they've had that same shootout.
Penalties are one thing where you don't want to know the goalkeeper. You don't want the goalkeeper to know you.
Exactly.
Because then, I mean, there's only so many penalties you take, and we all have taken penalties. We all know,
Yeah,
like in
there's
training
only-
and in games, we all know what we like to do, and there's like 2 or 3 variations of that. And so maybe that's something for everyone to bear in mind in the future. No national teammates or no club teammates in international taking the penalties, no matter how good you are.
Or just let Richardson.
Oh, yeah.
But not only that. After that first 2, because I was there with Rado, the colleague behind the camera, and I was like, okay, the first one he touched a bit. The second one he almost saved. Oh, now Richardson is coming. So, what will happen? And then Richardson.
Pins. Like there's never been a shot that's been more in the corner than that.
Yeah,
that was
beautiful.
amazing. And he like curved it in.
It was so good. And again, it came down to a line player.
Yeah, what's with these line players taking
the biggest cojones are always at the line players. That's the rule.
There's more cojones first. Ali Zayn taking a penalty. I would really love to know whether he was asked or he put up his hand, because this is a guy who barely throws the ball these days. He's clearly a very good backcourt player. He shows up for Egypt all the time, but didn't get a chance. He did score a goal on the break, but yeah, did he put up his hand, I wonder, or did someone say you?
Yeah, that's a good. So from my conversation, because I had a watch along of the 2016 final with Julian Aginagalde, and he shared something really interesting. He said that the players that were taking the penalties and their position was decided by talent and the coaching staff 2 weeks before the final. They had already picked that. Didn't tell the players at all. Right before the penalty shootout, talent came up to him and said, "You're taking the 5th penalty." That's it. So
that's what it sounded like to me. I was right beside him when he was. I mean, my Spanish isn't that good, but it sounded like he was saying this. That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
There was no real people putting their hands on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
So he was just
decided
nice.
a long time ago. You don't tell them, because then they start getting nervous straight away because they know.
And in the comments there, Nina's saying that Ali Zayn missed the penalty against Landin in Egypt in that ridiculous quarter-final at the World Championship. And but he put that one away. Fair play to him. And then, it was all about...
Give me some pizza.
And in this most clutch performance and moment during
Not
the
even
weekend.
that. Then he goes back in and comes out with 2 beers.
So MVP, Ali Zayn? MVP, can we agree on that? Ali Zayn?
Sorry?
MVP? For sure,
MVP of the locker room, anyway.
And still a better performance than Artem Karalik.
Here we go. All right. Moving on to the... go on. We have a few minutes left, so the MVP, let loose.
Let loose, just do it.
I mean, it was the first time ever that I've worked at one of these events and nobody wrote to me the MVP before. So I wonder, I don't know, it was a surprise for me. I said in the commentary, I was like, I don't know who it is, but I have a few people in mind. He was not one of those in mind. Go on.
How? Why?
Who would you give it to then? So
Alex Gomes.
But he's top scorer though, and you never have that. You never have MVP and top scorer.
Give it to...
No, but they don't. That's never.
Yeah, but you just do it.
Let's be real though. You can't give it to him. Who's his next choice? Just for this weekend.
Perez de Vargas did have 2 very good games,
He got
but
last
not.
year, didn't
He could have been the first
Would you give it to Danny Dushabayev just for a bit of a curveball?
I thought Danny Dushabayev is my... Did you know, you weren't there.
No, I was.
I said he's my hero of the weekend.
Hero of the weekend. Yeah.
Not quite MVP though of the weekend.
Well, we never give
Hero without a
MVP.
K.
Yeah, hero. That's the
Hero of the
alternative award.
Yeah.
Who's your hero of the weekend? Well, let's do that. We'll be living it positive now. Who's your hero of the weekend, Alex?
My hero of the weekend is, I think just Branko Vujovic. Just because he wasn't supposed to do anything this weekend. He's leaving the club straight after this game, basically. He has no contract. And he comes in and scores 4 goals in the final. So, heroic stuff.
You, Nacho?
Handball-wise, or
handball-wise.
Yeah, I need to say that the heroes for me of this weekend are my colleagues. For producing, what, 50, 54, 55 hours, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
We've got 3 minutes left on our 54.
Yeah, I mean,
handball.
it's boring, but I need to say Alex Gomez. I mean, what a performance! What saved,
22 goals.
safety net? It's amazing. So Alex Gomez for sure.
He's averaging 9.7 goals in Champions League finals in the 3 finals he's played in.
Yeah, and then let's not forget. I mean, he made Ortega find a new position for Blaž Jans.
Yeah.
I mean, Blaž Jans can
couple of
play.
positions
Blaž
this weekend.
Jans can play everything.
Yeah.
And for me, he's like the right winger. From right winger's perspective, the guy that can play everything. He can play at the second position, the defense,
like a Swiss
forward,
Army knife.
everything. But
Almost.
if somebody asked you 3 years ago, you have Blaž Jans and Alex Gomez, who will start, who will play more, like hands on, and you saw also with Berto Servas, also today in the talk, they were like, yeah, you know, Cindric, you were missing Cindric, and in Kielce, and he said, yeah, we're missing Cindric, but you know, Blaž Jans, we are also missing Blaž Jans. The guy does not stop speaking about him, so he knows how good of a player Blaž Jans is, and Alex Gomez made him, a backup, center back, backup right back, and right winger maybe, you know. So
Blaž was one of the best players in 2019 in the Final Four here for Kielce. Just one more.
So anyway, Brian, what's your MVP? Oh, good question.
Hold on. I was just going to, on the wings before you go there. You give yours first, go on.
So handball-wise, I'm going to give it to Danny Dushabayev.
Yeah.
Just because he surprised me so much. Just for the pure, no one expected anything from him. He could have come here and scored 1 goal and been like 0-4 today, and everyone like, oh, it's Danny Dushabayev, like, you know. But he was great, you know. A central figure. From one central figure to a non-handball central figure, there's a woman behind the scenes, Clara, who, due to unforeseen circumstances, couldn't be here for as much as she wanted to be here. Put a lot of work in the build-up to this. So thank you, Clara. I think we'll all give her a round of applause.
Clara Kreutz.
And I think we have to say
Brian has
thank
more
you.
to say.
Oh, you've got more to say?
I have a video I want to show you.
oh yeah.
But
Oh.
maybe I think we
Should we still have time?
basically finish with that video.
We could, yeah. We could, yeah, and we could
Or do you
talk
want to do
over
a
it.
commentary?
Oh, we can talk over it. It's. I mean, when I showed you the video the other day, and I said this is a quick edit. These were the last 5 videos on my camera roll, so this is like very, very rough. But like, just
It's-
from
I
scenes
don't
directly
think
from.
it's ready, so we have to keep talking for a while.
Yeah.
So
let's-
then I will go back to the position that I did in the last 44 hours and just try to solve the technical problems, if that's okay.
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 Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nacho.
It was
Thank
a
you.
huge honor. I cannot remember when was the last time that I was so nervous before. I must say, thank you for that. It's a really a huge honor.
And let's just give a shout out to some of the people who've been with us for a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah.
Pedro H. Faraj has been here all the
Yeah.
time. Puff Fansiv won the tickets to next year's Champions League. Mihai has been around. Nina was an absolute champion
yeah.
throughout.
Yeah.
The creepy,
Yeah,
creepy dreams. Oh, wait.
Fingers 89. Have to give a shout. Donald Doherty. Have to give a shout. Zebra with no
Yeah,
plan has
good
been
point.
an absolute hero. Whoever has been here throughout the time, just send in a message if we've forgotten you. But I think that's made this a real special experience. The official number 1.
Is that in blue saying "Hey" and me?
That's the official one.
The official one, yeah.
Emma and Geski has definitely been in here.
Formula One, Anya, yeah.
Yeah. All of these people have been in here keeping us company. It's
Kick her
made
out,
this
actually.
so
No Formula 1 allowed around here.
So thank you for that.
No, we said
this
it.
the old one.
Yeah,
Dude,
come on.
don't be milking it.
Octopus, you're great. Zebra with no plan.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing.
Nina, don't push it. So we already mentioned you. So
And all those hardcore fans of the Twitch show, you can still follow our podcast
Oh, good idea.
Do follow the podcast if
at
you
Handball Hour, of course. And we don't do 50 or
Don't
4
do it
hour
every day.
streams, but we do a podcast once every
Couple
2
of
weeks.
If you need a producer for that, I know a guy.
See our budget first. And I think we'll have you on a guest pretty soon again.
Oh, God.
You've been wonderful.
Thank you so much. I go behind the scenes to figure it out.
Okay, I'll
the
swap
Brian video.
seats.
So well, we just
Can I give you some more vibes because I don't think you got to hear some of the vibes I talked about.